It's nice though to be in America because you have like far more liberal freedom of speech laws. So I can tell the jokes here, which at home make qualify as like hate speech. So have a good night, Yeah. Now I recently joined Montreal's Gay Straight Alliance. We go around the city beating up the bisexuals, I don't know. I think it's okay to tell these jokes, It's,
How'd you get your start?
Very first set ever was a high school project. Did 5 minutes at an amateur night outside Toronto. And then the next set was, I think, 4 years later. I was taking a year off between undergrad and more school. And so I went to a movie, and in the mall where the theater was located, there was also a comedy club advertising an open mic. And I had nothing to do. I was just writing jokes anyway for all this time. And yeah, I used to go watch stand-up when I went on vacation or something to New York or San Francisco or wherever, or LA. But it wasn't something that I did at home or took in at home. It was more just Garbage Pail Kids, Monty Python, things like this, but it wasn't stand-up comedy, really.
What do you find funny?
What do I find funny? I suppose I find funny when people's expectations are not met.
It's a weird thing going around for stand-up quite a bit, because every place you go, you have to determine like their values and lines and mores and things like this. And I don't know if anyone's ever been to Portland. Yeah, it's like this hyper liberal little enclave, and so profoundly conservative in its own way. And before the first time I ever got to do a show there, I was told by the person putting on the show, said you should know that this is a safe space. I was like, yeah, that's my assumption, like as an animal, I only go into those spaces, which I understand to be safe. And then so I get there, and it's all lesbians and me. And I had never felt so unsafe in my life. And I told them, I was like, look, this is my first time in the Pacific Northwest, and I find myself asking myself, for the first time ever, what do lesbians want? Because the fact of the matter is, I continued, I said, I don't give a shit. And it's not that I give any less of a shit about your particular demographic than any other. It's just that, like, where I come from, what stand-up comedy is, it's like the most artful way of telling a room full of people to go fuck themselves. And so you want to play with like people's received notions and stereotypes and things like this. And it's like, what is it about lesbians? It's that they have no sense of humor, And when you're telling a room full of lesbians that they have no sense of humor, and they're not laughing, that is the funniest fucking thing, Like, I know there's some people who take issue, like with the word cunt. But me, I've only ever had problems with the personality type,
Here's the album. There's stuff in there, here. Anyway, so this is an album, and recorded in Montreal.
What's it called?
It Was Okay.
Okay. What's the full name?
The full name is It Was Okay, an album of comedy by David Heti.
Why'd you pick that title?
Why is that the title? It encapsulates so much, I think. I don't think there's one to say it's this or this alone. I think would spoil what it is. So just to document it, a friend of mine, David Galston, said he's a cinematographer. He said he can shoot it, and it never occurred to me. So on New Year's Day, Grumpy's Bar was shut down for 2 hours, and we just filled it with people who enjoy comedy, and just did the recording, and that's it. And it was a nice way to start off the year. A lot of hungover friends taking in a comedy show.
What's the sign of a good show for you?
Sign of a good show? People will say that they were laughing at things that they didn't know they could laugh at, perhaps, or they're laughing at things they didn't want to laugh at, or it made them think.
Are you offended by the hobo comparison that's being made?
No, I don't. I'm not offended by this. I think that there's a truth to it. I think that not that it's easy, but if it's said over and over, it's kind of no, it's fine. I'm not offended by that at all.
Oh, there's a train over there.
Oh yeah. Maybe it's like a grain train. Maybe it's not a hobo train.